And we're live.
And we are live. It's Edge Radio Australia. Good afternoon. We're here, of course, for the Greater Wealth. We have Derek over here doing his thing, mate, looking official with the official Edge computer, as we can see.
Can we actually see it? Kind of.
Oh, look, I'm sure we can. We can point that
There
out.
we go.
We have, of course, the Shave Monkey, who's done everything possible all day yesterday, day before, and there's a pattern forming here to basically throw us offline.
Hey, you stuffed up the online thing. I got us back online.
There has been no mistakes. Now, from my part, we're going to get straight into the show because I'll tell you right now, we've got so much to talk about today. Today is absolutely huge. We're going to run basically just under an hour.
Hey, Aaron, I forgot to. No,
Please don't do that. So we'll be with you for the next hour, and we've got a lot of subjects we want to cover. For those who are online or listening, jump online to whatever format you're using and throw your questions in. We'd love to interact with you. Now, Derek, mate, you have got quite a list of things we need to talk about. Let's get into it.
Let's start on the domestic side of things. Aussie's student debt is going to be slashed by $3 billion.
$3 billion.
Under a cost of living measure announced today. The other day, I should say, by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Now, this is an interesting time to do this because, of course, there's a cost of living issue that's going on.
I believe it's a crisis, but okay. I'll go with the crisis.
I don't like to be dramatic.
No,
I like to be neutral on these things, because that's how you'd interpret it. Just because I say it's a crisis doesn't mean it has to be a crisis.
Yeah, well, true. Okay, well, no, I understand.
I look at it as here's an opportunity, but
I'm
I'm
going to jump in this one. For Albanese, a crisis is people not putting memes up of him.
That's right. That is, going to make sure no mean memes, right?
The Bear did a good one on it. But anyway,
I'm going to go
back to education.
Well, he upset Elon Musk a bit. Elon upset him recently.
Elon won't care.
That was funny.
Well,
That's going to be online Donkey Kong. I'm excited about this one.
Look,
the memes have started already. But anyway,
absolutely.
maybe Elon will school Albanese.
Oh, look, someone's got to school him. He came from a public housing and single mother. You know that, right?
Okay. Did he? I didn't know that.
No,
Elon Musk.
I don't think so. Sarcasm 101. Let's jump into it, though. Okay, let's really be serious about this for a moment because it is a very serious issue, right? Okay, now let's talk about the debt. Okay, is it just the fact, is Albanese so inept, is he so without his own ideas that he has to basically copy Biden? I mean, if you're going to copy someone, Biden, like really?
Well, I think it's always a political type move, these things. And look at it this way. You've got a situation where students probably feel a little bit left out as far as the budget's concerned when they do the federal budget.
Right.
It's usually targeting single parents, retirees, usually on health measures, and students generally fall in the category of no income but healthy.
Sure, but what you need to do is, if you want to target students, you need to, the things you need to address is the cost of beer and 2-minute noodles. That's it.
No, the reason they drink beer and 2-minute noodles is because they can't afford Jack Daniels and they can't afford a real meal.
That's exactly right. Maybe hit cask wine, maybe drop the price of cask wine. That'll do, right?
What, green juice, make it $4 again.
So they're not feeling so left out. So they're getting a bit of a cut. And
get a cut.
Boom, boom. Yep. Half cut.
The average debt, they don't call it HEX anymore. That was news to me. They call it HELP.
Help.
They call it help debt.
Sponsored by the Beatles.
Beam me to it.
The average amount is $26,500.
Okay, that's a lot less than I expected, actually.
We're not America.
They're going to wipe out $1,200 on that debt.
Right.
Students with bigger debts of like 100,000, ones who've done the medicine, the law, those type of degrees, could possibly have $5,000 wiped out. So, it's staged. It's politics.
Yeah.
It's
not really going to help.
If you're a student, hey, you'll take what you can get. So
well, I didn't know this until only a few weeks ago. But a friend of mine who's got a degree, she's paying off her, I thought it was called HEX debt. There you go. And she was telling me the interest rate was something horrific. I think it was 14% or something.
You know what's really funny? When they sell it to you for school, they say, "Oh no, it's interest free."
Well, that's what she said to me. So she has about 18 years of debt behind her, or 16 years or something of going to uni, right? Just going for a bit, stopping for a bit, how life gets in the way. Anyway, but all of this debt, and yes, she was told it was debt. It was, interest free. And now she actually has discovered she's paying 14%. So she has to pay it in a hurry because, that's a much higher rate than what's going on, for everybody else.
From what I've heard, whilst you're studying, is interest free. But the moment you finish and you start working, they start slapping the interest on top.
It's almost like politicians use words carefully to manipulate people. I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like used car salesman to me.
Doesn't it?
But that's nasty.
Well, okay, I'm going to use it for this. I'm going to encourage everybody out there, okay, to not go anywhere near university. Okay, if you want to basically have your brain fried, okay, and this I have, I've got some stipulations here. If you wish to be a professional lawyer, okay, you got to get there, right? Okay, so therefore, okay, if you want to become a liar, go there. If you want to become a doctor, yeah, I want my doctor to go to uni. All right.
Yep.
If you're going to be doing those sorts of things in medicine, maybe.
What about essential oils? They'll keep you healthy.
Yeah, we'll keep you healthy.
You know,
What about an
brain
engineer? You want an engineer to go? To
I
uni?
do actually. Well, no, actually, on that
No.
front, actually,
No.
I
I
know.
do want them to go to uni, but I also want them to spend 4 years on a construction site first.
Damn straight. I do know an engineer who, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, so don't. I can't say this on a stack of Bibles, but okay, he did a TAFE course and all that sort of thing, and then he does work for, basically work
for the dole?
qualifications. No qualifications as he works. So maybe there's a bit there, but yes, I would want my engineer friends to have good qualifications behind,
Or
them.
at least know how to use AI properly.
Well, this will interest you, given you're in the media. I was talking to one of my mates who he was a engineer when Channel 10 was set up back at Chewett Hill.
Right.
So
Yes.
he was back from the old days, and he was doing TV before that, the
Right.
races, stuff like that. So he helped set up the original one. He's now lecturing at Curtin University.
Okay.
And I said, how's that all going? Out of interest, because that's a film school that I actually went to
Right.
back in the day. And he said to me, it's funny why people are now going to do this degree. He said that students are dictating the curriculum rather than the other way around. And it's because it's not that they want to work in the television industry.
No.
They all want to do their social media
That's
platforms
right.
and YouTube
Well,
channels and do it that
TV's dying. We all know that, right? TV is dying.
So
And
is
people-
radio.
Pardon?
Radio's practically dead already.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why obviously we do what we do. I mean, with us, it's obviously interactive. It's broadcasting more than strictly radio, because obviously we want to talk to people and get their ideas. But yeah, no, you're absolutely. I completely understand that. And when you're talking about when the setting up of Channel 10 was Channel 10, you
7.
said?
Yeah.
Okay, back in the
7
Channel
or 10?
10.
10. I remember this. I know that back in we'll call it the early 90s, when they were doing all of that, Channel 10 wanted to interview me for a rally story, right? Long story short, the guy started laughing and said, coming out to our studio, mate, we're set up in a shed. He literally said, at the moment, we're set up in a shed. So they're broadcasting around Australia. It's all looking shiny and all that kind of thing. But it was literally just a tin shed at that stage.
Yeah.
And good on them from that point of view of
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Exactly. Make the magic happen.
And the technology wasn't as sophisticated as it is today,
No,
too. So
no,
there was
at
a
all.
lot more effort going into it to get a signal out.
Oh, it's like us with behind the desk here, fiddling with the wire.
But put it in perspective,
don't
back onto
knock
the economic
Frankenstein.
side. Putting it back in the economic side, here's what you're trained to do. This is what the education system says to you: go to uni, get a degree.
Yep.
It'll set you up for a better job. And what kids are doing is they're setting up themselves for a lot of debt to start
Yes,
their
of course
careers
they are.
from, along with their mobile phones, which
Mhm.
often get out of hand in terms of those debts, car loans, all this sort of
Credit
stuff.
cards, holiday loans.
All that stuff. So have a real think about it in terms of higher education. And I always come back to, as you know, beat the drum on the life purpose thing. What is your
Yeah.
life purpose?
Yep.
If your life purpose involves going to university, fantastic. Go for it.
Pay for it up front.
But you do get those. I don't know if it's still anymore, but when I used to go to university, you'd come across one or two students who were the professional students
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
who would do, who would do
degree
two
after
or
degree
three
after
majors and
degree.
degrees. And
Oh,
I don't know if you can economically do that anymore, but
Oh,
yeah,
look,
it
it
was-
depends. I went to a private school, and mainly because the public ones wouldn't take me, but asked me to leave. No, anyway, no, just
It was the shirts,
It
wasn't
was
it?
just it was just a normal school. I'm only teasing, but anyway, my point being is when I left school, and I left, I'm a good old school, dropout, no university, whatever. But so many people I know just stayed there, so mummy and daddy would keep paying their bills. They'd kept themselves a unit, and they put themselves up, set themselves up in Fremantle, within crawling distance of the Norfolk Hotel. It's important stuff, right? Live on noodles and beer, like I said, but their parents were paying for it. Well, you know what? Now, if you want to have a life like that existed back then, now it's just debt, and also it must be heartbreaking to think that, look, somebody who is cleaning dongas up in Karratha is making more money.
Certainly, university is a very lucrative thing for the Australian government
Very
in terms of
much
what
so.
it charges, and it's a product that has benefited them, particularly with international students, and it's a good income spinner. So when
Yep.
lockdowns were occurring and borders were closing,
Oh,
that was an industry that the government wasn't receiving the normal income that they normally would. I think we need to look after our own Australian citizens
Thoroughly agree.
in that area, and they do charge less for students getting higher education in terms of Australians. However, are they doing enough? And I think that's what we've got to really look at. You want to build the country, you want to build it and forward it. Well, they certainly have hacked up the prices back in the day since you were going, or you're eligible to go out of high school.
yeah. Well, when I went to university, I spent a lot of time there, and I had quality time in the tavern. I did. Like, honestly,
Which uni did you go
actually
to?
go to uni?
well,
I rocked up to universities, but I was never a student.
no, same with me. So I just basically, I'm not giving a lie.
Oh, I was UWA. I
Oh.
was doing a degree in corporate finance and derivatives.
Were you?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I did at university. Never paid for it. I
Right.
just rocked up.
I was
Right.
particularly the longest period I went through was Curtin. Went to Curtin for a while because their tavern was exceptionally good, and I majored in chatting up chicks. That's what I did at Curtin. I did a bit of Murdoch as well, but never UWA. It was all a
No.
bit snooty for me.
No, more Asians there, so
Oh,
I was,
there
I
you
was
go.
happy.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
See, demographics. All right, but anyway, to me, this is kind of it's cheap, right? Like, to me, Albanese going and doing this, it's just cheap policy. It's not even policy stealing, right?
Look, I'm not going to knock it though. I mean, for a
Oh,
student,
take it.
I'm absolutely going to
they're
knock it.
charging enough as it is, right?
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to knock this.
Give
And
them a-
here's the reason why. Because Australia's supposed to be a country that's fair and equal to everyone across the board. And this is not fair and equal. So you got all these people who couldn't afford to go to university for
True.
whatever reason, had to go out, get a job, get a trade, pay their taxes, and now they don't take their money from them working hard to give it to the snooty bastards that went to university. I know I don't think it's fair. You rack up the debt, you pay for it yourself.
Word to your mother. I tell you right now, I'm down with that. I think that exactly that. Australia is about a fair go, and just basically, again, this is buying votes. This is playing politics. There's no real gravity in it, in my eyes. And
So where are you coming from? If somebody wants to go to university but can't afford to, should they be able to go? Should that bar them from going?
no, I
if
think they
someone
should
wants
go.
to buy a car and they can't afford it, do they not get a loan?
Hmm.
You're responsible for your choices. If you can't afford to pay for it up yourself
Mhm.
and you don't get a scholarship
Look, I
and
think
you want to go to university, I think
a
you
car
have
is a
to-
consumable. A
Yeah.
car is consumable.
And
We're
now-
talking about education.
Yeah.
We're talking about if you were the prime minister, okay,
Yeah.
put yourself in that shoes, and you want to do a 5 to 10 year plan, and you need a smarter generation coming through,
Yep.
rather than pulling the immigration
Ooh,
lever.
I
right?
can destroy this one straight away.
Wouldn't you want your own Australians to be better educated to do certain jobs?
Well, yeah,
and
they'll need
positions?
certain jobs because the Australian Labor Party specifically have destroyed the manufacturing sector of this country over a long period of time. So those jobs for workers are gone now, right?
The other thing as well, the lecturers at these universities are that far left.
Yes.
Like you've said it
That is
yourself.
definitely a problem.
They're not
Yeah.
even teaching the proper curriculum.
No, they're
Like
not.
it's getting to the point, like obviously the West Vietnamese, I was talking to last time I was over there, I was talking to one of the doctors, and they were saying they will not accept Australian doctors because they're not trained well enough by their standards.
Wow.
So why the hell? Like it just blows my mind. If you, if you really want to fix the system, to fix it for a 10-year plan, first thing we need to do is focus on lower education, so primary school and high school.
Yes.
Get that sorted out first. Get all the agenda crap out of the schools. Get the people who are actually going into university to a point where they should be in university, not teaching them basic English and maths.
Yep.
But we definitely need to get activism out of the education system.
Thoroughly
because it's
And
not
back
just
to facts, not feelings.
yeah, it's gone. It's been around the university levels for a long
Oh,
time, right?
Basically, it's been happening since the 60s, right? And
Definitely.
it's generational now. And to me, exactly right. Let's get back to the basics, okay? Reading, writing, and arithmetic, rather. This is what needs to happen. The basics, we've got kids right now who can't do the most basic things, and they're being asked, as 8-year-olds, what gender they want to be. Cut the crap. get back to educating people, and then you know what, we won't have the problems that we have when we get to that level of
why do you think we have to import so many workers? Because our university qualified people, I am going to put one exception here. I think the nursing degrees at most universities are actually genuinely really good.
Okay.
Teaching degrees, doctors' degrees, questionable. There's a reason why most of our doctors now are Indian, Arabic, Chinese, Arabic, because the Australian doctors they're terrible. So it's
again,
I must admit, the last time I went to a doctor, it was an Aussie doctor, and I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah. Well, my doctor is Indian. I suppose say my
you
Indian
are
doctor.
Indian though.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, right?
Were you both bobbing your head?
No, we weren't. Having a very intelligent conversation, something I can't have.
So the bobs were cancelling each other out.
That's right. All right, next subject. Let's move on to the next subject there. What else have you got on that magic silver box there, Derek?
Well, there's a big banking overhaul going on. We've seen this year. We've seen less service. We've seen branches closing. We've seen announcements by Bank West. We're going all digital, closing down our branches by the end of the year, and our ATMs are very hard to come by. Macquarie Bank has announced recently that it's going to go completely cashless in the month of May of 2024. And it's no longer going to have cash at its branches, totally going to full digital model once again. They announced that originally back in September last year. And also not only cash, but check services. They're reducing that as well, getting rid of that. And that's on cash and check services. Deposits, withdrawals may not be available from their offices from the 20th of May.
I didn't think checks was still a thing, but there you go.
No. For those who are long-time listeners, I probably know my latest venture is into strata management. So most strata companies are actually handled by Macquarie because they've actually got a specified strata product. So what happened is, before I actually started in the industry, they actually notified all the strata managers they were going to have this great big massive plan for it. So it goes even further. So Macquarie and National Australia Bank have this relationship where if you want to deposit cash into your Macquarie Bank, you used to be able to go to a NAB branch and deposit cash. So they're now under instructions for NAB, not even to it. That one's for you. They're not, I don't know if that came through in the mics, but it was like a police car. So NAB can't even accept cash on behalf of Macquarie anymore. And if Macquarie has a thing called the DEFT system, DEFT. So if you're paying a bill, you used your BPay and you scan and pay it. If you take your bills to the Australia Post to pay it, they charge you $2.50 per transaction. So even if you want to use cash, they're now charging you not only to use your EFTPOS facilities, they're also charging you to use your cash facilities as well.
It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, because every single time, I mean, you go pay a bill that magic $100 just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because obviously everybody takes a cut at every level, and some people are up in arms because they're looking at the control point of view, and I'm certainly one of them. I hate the fact that that everything that I do, or every dollar I spend, is documented. But it's the other thing. It's the fact that everybody's taking a slice of the pie. We're literally being stolen from, in my eyes, anyway, because there's no service. There's no service there.
No.
Right?
Well, the thing that gets me about Macquarie too is their phone banking services ended at the start of March.
Really?
So how do you complain? How do you bring up? How do you, if you have to sort something out? I get frustrated using robots. I really do. Autobots that appear on chat things, and it's like, give me a real human, please. Give me a real human.
I'd take the please off and you might get one. I found with the Telstra system, you have to fully abuse the robot. They go, oh, I'm detecting an aggravation on your voice. Would you like to speak to a human? Yes. Right? And that's how you get around it. You start screaming down the phone, and then they go, oh, okay, we'll get you a human.
Okay, well, there's a handy tip.
Yeah.
It's so true though. All the electronics, all the AI, all that kind of thing. This is why everyone gets. I personally, I get the benefits of AI. We use it in our everyday lives. Let's face it. But at the same time,
I actually had a thought about the AI. I'm going to see if it can sort our music lists.
I see.
Add the tags and all that sort of stuff.
I still think there's a huge advantages for businesses who do business people to people, and I don't think that's ever going to go to some extent, because yes, okay, AI might be able to helpful in the background doing certain things. And delivering the products and services that business have. But at the end of the day, people like to deal with people.
They do.
We are human. We have a communal drive in us. We were designed and wired that way. And so I think that's really, really imperative for business to always remember moving forward. You can't automate everything.
No, you can't.
And you got to remember, AI is a tool. It is not your business model.
Yeah.
So shit in, shit out. You put good information in, you're going to get good results back. If you get a robot feeding information to a robot, it's just going to go haywire.
Hey, I've seen Terminator 2. That's enough for me.
What it says to me, though, I mean, there's something overall going on. It was interesting to see that the banks that collapsed in the United States in 2023 were crypto related, heavy on the crypto side. Right. There is some suggestions, and I've been doing a lot of research on the whole crypto space lately. You can't ignore it. It's here to stay.
Yep.
It's getting a lot more interesting. I'm seeing a lot more opportunity in it as well. There is suggestions in some YouTube videos that with the move that Wall Street made in terms of making a Bitcoin ETF, which is, for those who don't know how to explain an ETF, it's an exposure to an asset class that you can do through buying shares. So a company wants to give you access to the S&P 500. You don't have to buy a share from every 500 company on the S&P index. You buy a share from them and you get the same results that the entire index would do. It's the same with Bitcoin. Rather than buying an entire Bitcoin, which is out of a lot of people's reach now, they can buy a portion of that and see it perform as if Bitcoin would. Okay. So there is suggestions that Wall Street has now gone in and qualified that. Are the old traditional banks who trashed mouth crypto in the beginning now starting to want to control it because they know they're way behind the eight ball, want to get in on the game, have gotten in with the SEC of the United States and said, hey, we want a part of this. You're big capitalist venture companies. And then they are now moving to get rid of those banks. There is suggestions on the internet that they're trying to squeeze that out and have control of the crypto space, their traditional banks.
I've got an idea in this one. So
let me just say one more thing on that. Can you hold that thought? It's interesting. I don't think it's any coincidence that the Australian banks are kind of pulling back services.
Oh, no question.
We're not going to do cash anymore. We're not going to have as many branches anymore. We're going to shut down our branches and go all digital. Is there a correlation? Because the technology in Australia is always further than the American is. Sorry, go for it.
So first of all, DP Loy, Bitcoin's just hit 100K, which is awesome. I think it's been there for a little bit, but anyway. And our number one favorite guy that always comes in with the best logo ever, the A is always in good spots. Josh, hardware wallets for the win. Do not give the banks your crypto.
And he raises a great point there, because I think that's what the move may, and I don't quote me, but this is where I think it's going, is that the banks will start moving on. Okay, we'll use the technology of the blockchain, but let us hold your wallet.
Yes.
You that's will be the what I'm really worried about. So
that's exactly
anyway, going back to my other thought. So remember when digital, like your household phones started getting scrapped for like their cordless handheld phones, and then we went to the mobile phones, and now who's got a landline out their home? No one's got them. It's a dead technology. And I as much as I love cash, I'm also a realist in this situation. We're getting to a point where cash is becoming obsolete. And I think it's one of those things you've got to be prepared for going to the digital market. And this is why education is absolutely crucial in this point. First of all, to learning where our financial system came from. So, Derek, blueskyfactory.com.au. Blues only got the U, no E. And also for tomorrow, we've got the Crypto Hour of Power out, 1 o'clock with Brandon.
Correct.
I think it's really, really imperative that people learn where the financial system came from and then where is it going, especially with the crypto side of things, because I think there's going to be a whole range of people. And I hate to say this, unfortunately, I think the older people, probably 60 plus, are the ones that are going to get nailed on this one. I think they're going to get absolutely royally screwed over because they're not prepared for it. They're not sure what's going on. They're not understanding the situation, and they need to learn how to effectively have cash in a digital world.
And I'm finding that generation is very susceptible to scams as well. I heard of one individual who has lost about $500,000, a couple of 100,000 scams, and totaled at about $500,000.
Yep. So,
this is about the third case I've come across in that age group where people are going, I don't really understand the technology. I'm going to give that responsibility over someone else to figure it out for me.
Yep.
And they get scammed every time.
Well, we're well past the Nigerian prince stage, aren't we? I mean, the scammers are so sophisticated. It's ridiculous. I literally in the last couple of days, I've had stuff that's come through for me about the post office, like,
you're getting those as well.
Oh, I'm just so sick of it. And I'll tell you right now, the font is perfect and it all looks right. And I just like look at it and go,
You know the best one I ever saw?
No, but like it's hard not to be tricked by these things because the font is the same. They don't really
and the phone numbers come up as Australian numbers as well.
The worst one I've ever seen was an email that came through from ANZ. So one of my bank accounts is ANZ. So the terms and conditions page went to the ANZ terms and conditions. Like all the links except the one went to the actual ANZ website.
Wow.
And then you click on the one in the middle and took it to a tracking bot. So when you tried to log in, it grabbed all your details.
Well, I got out of the ANZ because I found them to be unethical. I thought that they were very anti-Australian, and I think
our mortgage is with them. So
I think
because of everything that's happened, we can't refinance. So
gotcha.
That mortgage is kind of stuck there for now.
Yeah, but I mean that's my personal opinion. Others might have a better experience, but I had a lousy experience with them, and I didn't feel that my financial security was there. I felt that they had breaches, and also I felt that they were interfering with my banking.
The best one I've had so far is Bendigo. Okay. And I don't know if they're still around. Credit United. They used to be a really good one too. But we do have another comment here from Diflo. Normies will give up their wallets cold store only. So that's pretty much not just giving your wallets away. And also, guys, if you do have questions, send them through. ANZ is unethical. I guess they're the only bank that's ethical.
No, absolutely not. I'm just talking about my personal experience. Banks and ethics, they go hand in hand. Literally different hands. I really appreciate your point there. Absolutely. So, sorry, who made that comment?
Deploy.
Yeah, okay.
Deploy. No, he's normally watching on.
Okay.
You know him. You actually know him personally.
Okay.
I forget what his real name is.
Whoever it happens to be, bloody good point.
Yep.
Oh dear.
So crypto wallets, I think people need to be prepared for what's coming. I think digital currencies, the government's going to ram it down people's throat. There's too many, as the viewers pointed out, too many normies that are just going to accept it hook, line, and sinker. I don't think there's enough people who are awake to actually stop it at this stage. Now, this may change. The move away from it is becoming bigger and bigger.
Sure.
The amount of people who are actually using cash more and more these days and the bit that makes me really happy is that the younger people are actually starting to look at cash more and more because I think they're starting to slowly understand, you know what, mum and dad may not be batshit crazy. They may just be like, genuinely concerned about my future. So I'm going to throw in on this. There's good hopes there, but is it too late? Like,
no, nothing's too late because you know what you can do. You can backtrack, right? Okay, you can actually get people in Parliament. I know this is hard to believe, but you might actually get ethical politicians. I know I'm talking about something that is just
that's nearly as obsolete as a ethical bank.
Yeah, it is. I know. I'm a dreamer. What can I say? But I think that. Okay, if you could get ethical politicians, let's pretend we can, and these things can actually be, backtracked. Okay, this is not set in stone. Laws change. Freedoms can be. Look, they want to
name a country that got their freedoms back without a revolution.
Well, time for a revolution. That's what I feel. I really do. Okay, let's just talk about something that is related, and I want to work this in. Is this? We were speaking to someone earlier today about the $250 for your school kids, right? Okay, which is something from what's his name, the Premier Crook. Anyway, he's put forward you get $250 for your school kids if they're at a high school. But you just have to do minor things apart from
scan your face.
Scan your face as part of the ID.
You need a blood sample as well.
Unbelievable. So a full digital ID with a scan of your face. Now, if you can be bought for $250, then quite frankly, you bloody well deserve it, right? I've got a government department who's been trying to buy my privacy, okay? And it's not going to happen.
You're in Australia. Like, you don't. Okay. Sorry.
I know how you feel about it. I know, but you know what? It's also my responsibility. It's my responsibility to own as much of my privacy. Yes, I know.
So you have no privacy?
Very little.
No, you have none. Every single key on this is recorded and sent out. Every single key you do, everything you do. The only way to have true privacy in Australia is to go create a shelf company, go buy some rural land out somewhere, turn off your phone, turn off all electrical devices, and just go live off the land.
Which sounds like a good option for me.
And I hate to say it, it's
as a broadcaster,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tough.
Hey, satellite phones.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's very much a case of, I know what you did last summer. That's what our Australian government, world government is doing. And I say world government because that's what's happening.
I don't think the solution is hiding.
No,
The
thoroughly.
solution is
because
taking back your power.
The best
if
defense
you
is
hide,
attack. Okay,
if you hide, they're just going to do everything around you, then eventually come with guns. Because that's all what's not happening. We've seen all the movies that have done that sort of stuff. So they're prepping everyone for it.
All right. Now, with the prepping, any questions there, mate?
We do actually. So, Josh, you can get a phone without Apple or Google on it. Yeah, but the moment you do any Google searching, it gets added as part of the cookie.
Yeah,
so
but you could
it
DuckDuckGo.
obsoletes the phone.
You could DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, you can DuckDuckGo, but the moment you do anything that's associated with Apple, Google, and there's a whole heap of other apps as well, like all your banking apps and all that sort of stuff, it goes. I think the best bet is just go get yourself an old Nokia 3310. Let's see, things can be changed for the better without revolutions. It can be changed for the better, but I just don't know a country where it's happened.
Well, okay, on that point, I think he's got a good point, and it's this, is that most people don't realize we are in war right now.
We are.
And I'm not talking about bullets and guns and cannons.
Well, if you're in Melville, it is.
We are in...
Too soon, I never know.
We are in an intellectual war right now, right?
Yeah.
We have been since 2020. People have started to wake up and realize the propaganda getting rammed down their throats, left, right, and center. And it's exciting in the sense that the internet, despite the censorship that's been going on, has allowed people to get the truth out there.
Well, you're
you know
looking
where
at it
to
right
look.
now. You're
The
looking right
internet
now at this
is-
screen. This is what's going on.
Internet is a great savior. That's my only hope, because you know, one of those sayings, like, once it's on the net, you can't get rid of it. And it's absolutely true. Like, it's impossible to, well, AI might change that, but
who knows?
the internet has been the greatest source of information. It's the greatest source of FU to the government. I think see that I cleaned it up just for you, Derek. I think the internet's going to be the savior. It's not Donald Trump. It's going to be the internet and the common people. And I hate to say it, meme
I think
lords.
Donald might help. I'm just
I
saying.
think meme. See, straight away, that is a meme. I think the meme lords that are sharing all the memes, I think they're going to be the greatest source of freedom for everyone out there. I can't believe you stripped on camera, Aaron.
All right, change of subject. Where are we heading now?
We have a question here from Josh. What's the buy-in for my hippie commune that I'm setting up? Well, it's funny he should say that, because I love spending time on realestate.com.au, and I saw an amazing property. It's only $580,000.
I'll take
It's going to a silent auction, so I'll probably go for about 620.
Okay.
So the town that it's in has a population of about 350 people.
Right.
This property has 2 wings on it with 120 bedrooms total.
Oh,
It's huge. It was a workers complex for building Snowy 2.0.
Okay. Well, so what is that? New South Wales?
Yeah, New South Wales.
Okay, a bit of a walk. Okay.
Yeah. It's only 5 hours to Sydney and 6 hours to Melbourne.
Yeah, but 5 hours from Sydney is 5 hours.
It's far enough.
No, it's not. It's 5 hours too close. I'm sorry. Sydney's not my place.
So, but the thing is, the land's big enough that you could literally just put some walls up.
You really could.
You 120 bedrooms. Like,
Oh, look, David Koresh.
that's
just
240.
right.
See, you know what? Get it and just get everyone like the Hugh Hefner robes.
Yeah. Oh, it's
And
just getting
make-
better all the time. Okay,
So yes,
Derek,
Josh.
please save us. The information more, I can see that up there, and absolutely so true.
Yep.
Look, you know what? So many is for working hard to make sure that we're not silenced. And there's others out there that they're making
The Hutt River province, and I'm in. So for those that don't know, up near Hutt River, it's one of the few properties where it's not owned by the government.
Yes,
so
that's
the
right.
guy that owns it, this is just near Geraldton, they went, you know what? Stuff is, I'm not paying tax. I'm becoming my
Didn't
own
he
government.
pass away though? Recently?
I think his son tried to take it over, and was like, you know what? I want food.
Oh,
And so decided to become part of Australia
I
again.
don't know. I'm not sure on that.
So yeah, anyway.
Let's jump into
Derek.
it.
Wise people see danger ahead and make preparations
Why
for
is
it.
a why?
Wise
Wise. Sorry, I've had a few coffees, so things are like,
wise people see danger ahead and make preparations for that.
so
And what's happening internationally is really, really interesting. This is not to scare people. This is not to make people worried. Again, as I always say, there is always opportunities in these moments.
Damn straight.
43% of small businesses in the United States were unable to pay their rent in full in April due to economic headwinds. And it's the highest rent delinquency rate since March 2021 per Bloomberg, media publisher. And this is big concerning because they are seeing, this is going to leave leftist corporates, as some have said, what's left of the US marketplace. In fact, Donald Trump Jr. got on there and said, this is insane. This will destroy our country and our small businesses. It feels like it's on purpose to give big leftist corporations what's left of the US marketplace. America, it doesn't have to be this way, but you do have to get involved and vote out Democrats in November. So there's political points to be done by this.
He's
but
giving it a go.
But give it. But look, but in fairness to Trump's no business, right? Okay. Yeah. So while this has been going on, you've had China dumping $74 billion in US treasuries since 2023 and buying up gold left, right, and center.
Very telling.
Right. So the treasuries, the bonds, those are the IOUs that the US government produces to get currency in their markets. China's been a big advocate of buying those. It's coming out that they're dumping that now because they don't think the integrity of the US dollar will be there, obviously, and they're going to the old money, gold. JP Morgan and Chase Bank of America suffered $4.5 billion in losses as unrecoverable debt soars. This is an interesting story in relation to how many people just aren't paying their debts, and it's unrecoverable. So those are the two largest banks, JP Morgan Chase.
Yep.
And they didn't expect they'd be hit with that. Bank of America also reported $1.5 billion in net charge-offs. That's a surge of $807 million a year prior. And they're just seeing cracks in the system as people can't pay that debt. Bear this in mind, while that is going on, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, sounded the alarm, the American debt's too high. And they keep raising the debt ceiling, of course, as they do. They always hear the hype,
Derek, stop worrying, mate. You can just print more money. It fixes everything. Well, hang on. If you can print money, then why do we get taxed?
Oh, you feel so smug using someone else's joke.
No, I don't. I'm born smug. Go on.
Let's look at some stats here.
Say something else, but anyway. So yes, Derek.
They're concerned the interest rate's too high. Every 100 days, US debt increases by $1 trillion. Wow. And if you're paying that interest back, it's $170 billion to pay that back, just on the interest. That's not paying down the debt.
Yep.
Defense spending in America, to put it in perspective, is $822 billion. And the international US debt is $35 trillion.
Well, the Americans are very busy because, okay, they have to be out there because they've got to liberate a lot of oil. Okay, they've got to launder a lot of money. The great laundry of the world, the Ukraine, watching the money funnel in and out of Ukraine. It is embarrassing, right? I mean, I don't understand all of this fully, and I understand what's going on. Okay, so people, you're having the wool pulled over your eyes here. Okay, this is money laundering. The whole conflict setup that's going on in the Ukraine, which we've, by the way, tended to forget because of Israel and what's going on there. This is just ridiculous. The American system, they are not looking after their people in any way, shape, or form. Everyone's living on a lot of people living on the streets in tents, and they've got fentanyl problems, all of this domestic problem, and you're just funneling money to this place that no one can find on a map. It just drives me batty.
There's a lot of distractions going on in the world.
There really
look over here
is.
And don't look over there.
Yep.
And that's what I think we've got to be aware of what's going on here. So you hear a lot of the words crisis. You hear the words, the drama from the media and those things. Now, in all of this, you go, okay, be prepared. So what's happening with the debt? We've been talking about different forms of exchange for quite some time on this show.
We certainly have.
Alternatives, some traditional, some are new and alternative. There are also situations where how can you, in relation to these businesses, how can you fix that situation where they're struggling to pay their rents? This is what a good business is all about, is problem solving.
Well, okay, and I'll use ourselves as an example here. Problem solving. Okay, is where we were. We had, we were there for years in Wangara. Great setup, beautiful studios, everything was done. Walk in, it's ready to go. Right now, ultimately, in 3 years, our rents doubled in 3 years. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. So you know what you do? You can either go, you can drown in that, or you can go, hey, you know what I'm going to do? If you're going to keep pushing the money up, I'm going to turn this problem into an opportunity. And we're going to go, okay, and we did that. We've gone and found somewhere bigger, better,
double the size.
Yeah, double
more
the
central.
Size. Central, just okay. So you can get
higher
doom and gloom.
roofs.
Absolutely, you can get doom and gloom about it, or you can take it as an opportunity, right?
You got signage opportunity on a busy road.
Absolutely. So now there's so much going for it, but
because we've got 2 spare rooms, we've got 2 offices we can now lease out to counteract our rent increase. And so exactly if you do need an office space at a hot desk, so send an email to info@edgeradioaustralia.com.
Yep,
and Aaron will deal with it.
Oh, Aaron will deal with it.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is,
Aaron will deal with it.
Aaron has to deal with everything. All right. But I mean, look, but where I'm going on this is that, okay, through all of this, okay, we can get doom and gloom. We can look at what's going on, or we can go, okay, let's bloody make an opportunity out of this, whether it be rent going up or whether it be, you know,
your shirt's getting brighter.
Right. Let's use this as a catalyst, right? We see that the governments are, you know, trying to take away our rights. Well, no problem. Okay, we'll step up. This is an opportunity, as I see it, for the citizens to take back what's been stolen from them. That's just where I'm going.
So
I have a student who's just made $630,000 because of all the drama that's going on in the world and markets today.
Mm-hmm.
What I'll do for Edge Radio listeners, if they want to see how he did it,
yeah,
they can come to a free webinar that I'm doing next Tuesday.
Is that on your Blue Sky Factory website?
It isn't. So it's,
okay.
I'm just saying it to Edge Radio guys. If you
really
want to do that, go to my website, my homepage, go blueskyfactory.com.au, put your details there.
Yep.
I'll give you a quick call and just say you heard this on Edge Radio, so I know where you've got it from.
Okay.
And then if you want to hear that. So yeah, one of my students has done this, made $630,000 on the markets, but related to all the drama that's going on in the world.
You know, with all that money he's just made, does he need to rent an office?
He's a smart businessman too.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, no, but look, he is renting offices internationally and all
there
that.
You go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
So
there were lots of questions
coming
through.
While you guys are talking, we do have a few questions here. Oh, and because I put that in all the chats, that's gone all the way up. Let's see. We have deployable. Can they inflate their money to pay it back? I actually think China's on the right path here with BRICS coming about, getting away from fiat currency and going back to gold. I think that's a great idea.
Well, absolutely. It's a two-edged sword here. Like I think politically, the world needs the United States, right?
Yeah.
I don't. But
who would you rather, the peacekeepers, the United States or China?
Well, that's right. However, having said that, the economy of the US dollar has been so fraught with problems for the rest of the world. It's been great for the United States, but it's been such a problem for the rest of the world. And it evens the playing field a little bit if we do go back to the gold-backed standard, right?
Well, look, let's be honest. 80 years since, effectively, near enough since the end of World War II, where the petrodollar effectively took over as the standard. And, of course, the Americans have used and manipulated the situation to give the benefit to their country. Now, I was watching something, and I don't want to sit here and
other countries have countered that as well, don't forget. So, like, have a look at Japan. They intentionally had a negative interest rate to counter to sort their economy out.
Absolutely.
So then you also have a look at China. For a very long time, they were level pegging with the US dollar to make sure that their currency was similar.
Yep.
So there are things you can do, but you've got to understand the systems to be able to do that. And there's nothing to stop us from doing that as well. But you have to understand the system. And this is why I keep saying politics is the most important thing in your life, regardless of what you think it is. Politics controls everything. If you understand the politics, you know how to get around everything. So we do have a question for Derek here. If they inflate their money back, Derek, because as things stand, how could you say MMT doesn't work? There you go, Derek.
MMT?
MMT. I'm not sure what MMT is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you could tell us what that is, that'd be fantastic.
Who is they? Can they inflate their money
that's probably America.
Okay.
I thought they would combine these. So we'll come back to that one when we get a bit more info. And Josh, welcome back. I have to say, I still love that A. Half the world is dumping the US. That is one of the reasons causing the US economy to crash and just massively overspending.
And that's what I think a lot of the elites have wanted. This is exactly the attempt that they've done to get everybody stirred up and wanting to do that.
Modern monetary theory.
Okay. So take me back to the original question now.
Okay, hang on. Let me go.
Let's look at this.
See, look, I'm getting efficient at this.
You are. Hit the any key. See what happens.
Hit the any key. That was harder than what I thought. For those watching online, I threw a coffee at Aaron.
Yeah, thank you.
My argument is that the system hasn't worked for a while, and it's based on
my glasses.
Fractional reserve banking.
Yep.
Where banks can basically print money with only 10% reserves in,
and people don't know that.
So that's just the Babylonian system, though. That's going back to Christ's era. Yeah,
let's go. Yeah, the merchants of Venice were very good at it too, because what they would do is they get everybody to rock up. You could deposit the gold into their safes and depositories, and then they would write you a promissory note. We owe you X amount of dollars, all right?
Right.
That represented that. And they figured out that you could basically lend out more than you had back in the coffers. And so that's what they started doing.
Okay.
And this is a tradition that has gone down through the whole financial system since those times. And then they only have to have, say, 10% in their coffers to lend it out. And this is why banks are terrified of a run on the bank.
Oh, that's why I'm so excited by runs on banks. I really want it. I really want
especially
people
when
to
they did the cash one the other day. Like,
it
the
was
amount
great.
of people rocking up to take cash. And it was like one of the only times you're happy to be in a queue out the bank. So,
That's right. That's right.
It's really, this is encouraging. Like having a look at some of these comments that are coming through. Modern monetary theory is a macroeconomic model posting that, sorry, Derek's laptop screen's in the way, so I'll get Derek to finish reading. Model posting that countries that issue their own currency, such as the US, are not constrained in their spending. PR.
Yeah, that's why the US doesn't pay back their debt. He's exactly right.
Here we go. Apparently, where are we? Opponents of MNT argue that such countries can't default on the securities they issue, as they can simply print or issue more currency.
Yes.
Right. And is that why they keep moving the debt ceiling?
Pretty
Yeah,
much,
because you can just create out of the thin air because it's fractional, right?
Yep.
He's absolutely right. So what they do is, do we ever have to pay it off? The US politicians have never intended to pay it off. They just keep passing it on to the generations and the generations and the generations. And historically, what you see is then a currency has to change. And I think that's what we're witnessing right now.
I think so too.
Given that is happening, this is like, for me, why do I get excited about this? This is a once in 1,000 years opportunity to really prosper in it in terms of that exchange of wealth that's going on.
I mean, look, with your family budget kind of thing, you want to have a surplus, right? You want to get in a situation like you got some money in the bank, so for a rainy day, things go wrong, whatever. It just blows my mind that you don't run a country like that. Okay, you don't. Most countries have no interest in having any reserves.
Let me throw another question to you then. How many people would have a surplus in their budget when they have a mortgage?
Almost no one.
None.
Yeah.
None. So if the general population can't have a surplus, like they're living paycheck to paycheck, paying off interest and borrowing money to get the things that they need, how do you expect the government to be any different? You got to remember all the rules that the everyday people live by is formed by the government, who's mismanaging money anyway.
So let me put this spin on that then. I think it's a really good issue. And it applies, I'll start with the individual, you and I first. I've really been looking closely, and my wife and I have been doing this, and what is really needed. It's okay, there's needs versus wants, okay? We get that. But how can you turn your spending from just being consumables to assets? And what proportion? There's going to be some consumables. It's unavoidable. You've got to live and survive and get up the next morning. Yes, there's got to be some consumables there. But when you start becoming conscious of it, I mean, one of the things that helped me was actually physically buying ounces of silver, because I would actually start thinking, at that time, $35 was going to buy me an ounce of silver. Do I want to spend $35 over here?
You know what?
Or
Dope's
not?
got a better rate of return than that.
What's that?
What is it, $250 an ounce now?
I don't know.
Marijuana.
And not be arrested.
It's for medical purposes.
That's right. Derek won't be in next week. He's been investing with Travis.
It makes you start thinking, how much where do I want to spend my spending, right? I could spend that extra $30. It's easy to just go, it's $30, I'll pay it, right? And you start thinking, hang on a second. When you physically hold it, you go, this is actually something that
it's the old story about when you go and you pay pass, right? Okay, it doesn't feel like money. It's just tap and go, right? So you don't notice when you've got good old fashioned folding in your hands. It hurts every time you break a note. It's like, because it's gone.
So I look at I go around. If you go around the shopping malls today, the supermarket, I am amazed how many people are filling their trolleys with soft drink.
Really?
Yeah. I just look at it and go, fuck, this stuff is bad for you. It's full of sugar. Plus we don't know a lot of the ingredients that are in some of those drinks and that sort of stuff. And you're putting that in your bodies. We know that it causes health problems and health issues. I look at that and go, okay. I look at, since I've done some health courses as well, I look at the grocery stores and I go, 90% of the stuff in here is bad for me.
It is.
Preservatives
really
and all this sort of stuff. So you start making, with this education, you start making wiser and smarter decisions with your money. And you go, where is the real value? Now, I used to argue, that I try to buy organic when I can. Okay. It gets harder with 4 kids and getting to the markets and all this sort of stuff. But I can tell you now, people go, oh, organic food is more expensive.
No, it's not.
I tell you what, you eat less of it because it's more nutritious and it fills you up quicker and it's healthier for you. So it's getting that balance right.
Sure.
And I know that everybody can't just go overhaul, but a lot of people don't want to change. And you got to go, if you keep doing the same thing you do, that's the definition of an insanity, right? So it's the same with your spending in terms of discretionary wants and needs. It's, do you want to keep spending it on consumables, or do you want to start buying some assets with that money? And in this day and age, you can start buying assets with very little money, right?
Yep,
that's the exciting part.
Point.
You don't have to go have a $400,000 loan to buy a property. You can if you want to, but you can get in the game with a small outlay right now. That window of opportunity is closing, but it's there.
It is still there.
So we do have quite a few comments coming through.
Okay, let's answer some.
Where are we? So true, Derek. I didn't think of things like that. So he's talking in regards to like the difference between your like your wants and your needs, and start actually buying investments. So silver's a great way to start investing. The other one I've found lately as well, you were talking about indices earlier.
Yeah.
So a lot of those accounts, you can start with $5. Just putting something away every week gets you sort of like into that habit. And when you start seeing some of those returns come through and you compound them, compounding is really, really powerful. I don't think people understand how strong of an impact that has.
See, I look at fiat. I don't see it as worth anything at the moment. That's how I'm viewing things with everything that I've been telling you about with the dollar and all this sort of stuff. I'm going, fiat is simply there as a gateway to get assets. That's how I'm looking at things, right? So how can I've got to keep some cash back to pay the bills from day to day and just, keep throw the dog a bone and all that sort of stuff, right? And keep people happy. But how much of that can I turn into assets that are going to make me wealthy, to make me money, not just in the short term, but we're thinking, 10, 15 years, even generational wealth. That's how I'm thinking. When
you've got kids,
now.
you've got to think about that.
And there is an opportunity right now to do this
I'm going to flow on from that. Like, okay, so we've had some, not for a while, I might add, but we've had some negativity thrown our way because we've got some shows about wealth and we've got shows about crypto and things like that, and growing financial wealth, right?
How dare you?
How dare you, right? Several things. Never apologize for making a living, right? Simple as that. Never apologize for wanting more and actually achieving things. That's one thing. The other thing too is, to me, this is not ever about money. This is about giving me the tools to have freedom, right? I'm all about freedom, full stop. And you know what? You're just not very free when there's nothing in your account, right? And I can totally attest to that. So,
and I can too. I've been there, done that. I'm not some guru here. I know what it's like to be feeling the sweat and financial pain. I get it.
Yep. Right. Yeah, I thoroughly agree.
I've been there, but you can get out, and you can get out. And
but look at this as an opportunity, right? To exactly that. Give yourself more freedom. Open some doors for you, right? Meaning that, if you've got financial freedom, if you're not pressured by having to go to a job, just over broke, there as basically a paying slave. If you can get that kind of level of freedom, you can go and do the things that you're passionate about. You can do the things that actually give you real, genuine wealth. Your heart.
I just wanted to quickly jump into this one. So a great book for people to read is Robert Kiyosaki's The Cash Flow Quadrant. So understanding what quadrant you're in and where you want to be. So I think that's really, really important. So I know Derek's course has covered that a lot as well. So blueskyfactory.com.au. One of the big things I always hear, everyone wants to be on the right side of the cash flow. So business owners or investors, but there's nothing to stop you. Let's say you enjoy the security of working for someone else, but take a proportion of your income and put it into investments and something that's going to grow itself naturally. Yeah. And I was thinking about this the other day and I was like, you know what? Investing is a lot like farming.
Okay.
And you're probably thinking, what the hell?
I am thinking that.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. So
I want to know why.
So let's say you want to start growing some, we'll use the example in the chat, watermelons or pumpkins. Right. So let's say you want to start growing some pumpkins. What do you need? First of all, land.
Yep.
You got to buy the land.
Yep.
Prep the soil.
Spot on.
So that's your education. Buying the land is making the decision on where you're going to invest it. You can't just throw seeds in the ground and expect them to grow. You got to know a little bit about it. So you got to get a little bit of education right. What investment am I going to do? Am I going to get pumpkins? Am I going to get watermelons? Am I going to do tomatoes? Yep. Am I going to do tropical fruit? Oh no, I live in the desert. That's not going to work. So you've got to make sure you're picking the right investment seeds for your area, your lifestyle, and all that sort of stuff. From there, you keep adding a little bit of water here and there, a bit of fertilizer there. That's a bit of capital going back into your investments. Next thing you know, you're harvesting the money.
And the wonderful thing about a farmer is that they diversify their crops.
do.
A smart one, right?
Absolutely.
Because they don't know which one's going to work. You could have a locust plague come through, or some crop to require more water than others. All these different aspects. But the diversification actually helps them secure that well. And that's what a lot of traders, a lot of investors do, is they diversify.
You have to. Gents, we've got about 2 minutes now left to the show, so I'd like to answer some questions.
So this one did come through, and it's a great question. So why do you think they hate families?
Oh, well.
Who wants
by breaking up a family, by destroying a family, you're making more customers. It's as simple as that. Basically, if you break up a family, now you've got 2 sets of rents or 2 mortgages, you've got 2 car payments, you've got car insurance, you've got water, you've got electricity. Quite frankly, if you live in that elite, of the people who are running the world, really, you are financially incentivized to destroy families.
Elites didn't mind feminism and women going to the workforce because it means they could tax the nations more.
You know what? They created feminism.
It goes even further than that as well. Don't forget, if you've got a broken family, who raises the kids?
Exactly, the state does.
It's not the family, it's the state. So
absolutely. And why does the media been showing fathers and men as stupid Homer Simpson type characters
forever?
And everybody loves Raymond dumb type characters.
Yeah.
Men without strength. The last really strong male figures we saw, the Rambo series, the Sylvester Stallone type series.
Married with Children. Oh, he was a legend. So so that's about it, eh?
That is fantastic. And I really appreciate those who are online who have been asking questions. Really, really good. Some faces that, names I haven't seen before. So I really appreciate that. Share the love. Make sure that, you promote Edge Radio to everybody who could possibly can, because we are growing and, freedom of speech, I'll tell you what, it matters. And we're going to push, make sure that everybody gets a voice. So if there's any other questions, we'll answer those. But otherwise, we will get out of here. Now, we've got to actually, when I hit the button, mate, and start playing the music, and remember that we're a radio station, when we do that, when will you hit the stop so that Facebook doesn't get all? We don't want to get, Zucker.
We don't get nailed at the start, so we did. It took a bit for the numbers.
But
there's the replays always on there, and we do Sunday. We have the reheated. What do you call
Reheat the Pizza. It's all the best shows that we play during the week. They all do their replays on Sunday. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Jump on the website, edgeradioaustralia.com. Consider becoming a member. We'd really love that. Otherwise, just thank you and stay free.